Hello and welcome. This is Silvia Camerini and I'm the creatrix of the Pregnancies Queen. I support pregnant and new mothers to reconnect to their inner wisdom, to their birthing abilities, and to their most intimate desires so that they can create their best birthing and maternity experience. My aim is to show you and to prove you that birthing can be a pleasurable experience. So I'm hosting a sacred space for moms who have already given birth and who had an amazing experience to share the story with you so that you can be inspired through this storytelling. And today I've got here with me a mom of one child who lives in the United States. She is Martina Cordero, and I welcoming her here with us. Hello, Martina, and welcome.
Hello, hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Martina. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story and such an intimate part of your life with us.
Thank you. It's a real honor to be here. An honor, to be able to share my story with other women and an honor for myself to be able to go through it again and heal the parts that haven't healed yet.
For me, it's a pleasure to be a witness and a listener of your story. So whenever you feel ready to tell your birthing experience, you can start and you can add anything you want to add. We are just here to welcome you as you are and your story as it is and as it was.
It's amazing how the universe will bring to you what you want and what you need. I'm embarking on a business. I'm a healer and a spiritual teacher. And I went into my Akashic records and I said, okay, who is my ideal client? Who do you want me to work with? And I got images of, newborn babies and the mothers in the hospital. I'm like, really? I'm like, oh God, I don't want to go through that again. Are you kidding me? And I said, okay, all right, let me work with this. And I said, why do I have so much resistance? And I said, because there are parts of you that haven't healed. And as you help other women, you will heal. And then you asked me to do this interview. And part of what you told me was that it's a way to process the event and to heal from it. And I was like, wow, okay, let's do it. And I'm really happy to be here. So thank you again. Okay. So when I found out I was pregnant, it was a happy surprise. I didn't think I was ready for it, but I don't know if anybody ever thinks they are. I guess some people do. But I was in the middle of my master's degree for teaching. So I was working in a high school teaching science. I was actually subbing at that point and doing my studies in the afternoons and evenings. So I was quite busy during the whole pregnancy, but I loved being pregnant. I loved feeling the baby growing inside me, and I could feel his energy, his soul. He was just so beautiful, so pure, and really amazing. And let's see, when it came time, I knew he wasn't going to come on the day that the doctors said, oh, he's going to be due September 12th. I said, according to my calculations, probably not. And And sure enough, he did not come that day. And they said they were going to induce me if he didn't come within the week. I said, oh no, because, I just wanted a natural birth and I wanted everything to unfold naturally. So that weekend, the weekend before, my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law and his wife had flown up from Puerto Rico to be present, to meet him, to meet the baby, and so there was that pressure, but when something like that's happening, you have to just let go of what the world is telling you, what doctors are telling you, and you just gotta. I just had to connect with my heart and say, okay, I'm gonna relax through this. The day he was born, I was just hanging out with my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, and his wife. My husband had gone to work, and my mom was at her restaurant working, and it's just another day. And we decided to walk along Greenwich Avenue, which is like a shopping district where I live, and just walking up and down, trying to move things along. And 11 o'clock that morning, actually, I had a doctor's appointment, and so she was like, "Oh, do you feel that?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's a contraction." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And it wasn't painful or anything, and went about my day walking up and down the avenue, and I kept feeling that, but nothing major. Then we went to my mom's restaurant at like 3 p.m. 4 o'clock, they're like coming on, these contractions are like coming on, a little more like, whoa, wow, like that caught my attention. And I said, this might be it, or it might not, we don't know. So we went home, and my mom actually came home that night. Instead of staying at the restaurant, she came home and was hanging out with me. And the contractions are coming more and more. So we said, okay, well, what do people do in this situation? Oh, they bake. Some people bake. So we had gone apple picking 2 days before, and I said, yeah, let's bake a pie. So we're baking apple pie, and she's cooking up some lobster. And I called my doula, and she said, okay, you may want to get some sleep just in case, So 9 o'clock I went to bed, and by midnight I was like writhing in my bed. I woken up, and just the contractions were coming on really strongly, and I couldn't sleep, of course. And by 4 a.m. my mom was like, okay, I think we need to take you to the hospital now. And I just didn't want to go to the hospital. I wanted a home birth, but I knew that wasn't really, well, I guess it's possible, but I didn't want it that bad, right? And so, called my doula. She said, you may want to wait a little longer. You wanted to labor at home as long as you could. So it doesn't sound to me like you're ready yet. But I was in so much pain. I was like, well, I don't know. My mom was telling me, Rudy was telling me, my husband Rudy. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go. And so we're walking into the hospital, 4 a.m. And of course they, luckily I didn't have to go into triage. There was a room available. So we went directly into the room and, hooked me up to the monitors and put me in the gown. And it's so funny because planning, doing the birth plan, weeks ahead, I said, I do not want to wear a hospital gown. I'm not sick. Um, and then the moment came and I was like, I don't care, just give me whatever. Just give me whatever you have. So they put me in the hospital gown. And there I was. I used, the ball. My doula had some awesome techniques. She had this like big long scarf, and on my hands and knees, she like put it under my belly and like kind of like jiggled my belly back and forth. That helped. My husband was great. He brought his swimming trunks, his bathing suit, and got in the shower with me, so the water could help, relax me. I had the room set up just as I wanted it. I had my crystals and my essential oils going in the what is it called? The dispenser. The nurses would walk in like, oh wow, this is the best room. And there I was, I'm like, oh, glad you like it. It's still not helping the pain. And that was another thing. I was like, no one, please don't say the word pain. Just say strong sensations, because I didn't want to like prime myself for this awful experience. But there I was. I'm like, holy shit, this hurts. Wow. And that was like my first clue into motherhood. People tell you, but you just don't know until you experience it. I just couldn't imagine. So let's see. Labor was like, it just seemed like forever. The hard labor, I thought hard labor started at midnight. For them it didn't start till like midday the next day, but from 4 p.m, I was like, oh boy, all the way to 4 a.m. when I was like, holy crap. And then he wasn't born until 4 p.m. So it was a long day. Just remember thinking like, is this gonna happen already? I'm walking up and down the halls. I'm like, squatting during the contraction because, of course, my legs couldn't hold me up. And my doula was there with me. My husband was there with me. My mom was even there with me. And there was just one point where I looked at my doula and I said, I can't do this anymore. And she looked at me and she said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You've gotten this far. You can do this. And I didn't want the epidural. I went in not wanting the epidural. And I can't for the life of me remember why. I'm the biggest chicken for pain. And here I am, wanting to go through this birth experience au naturel. But that was just something that I had in me. Sometimes there's just no explaining things. You just go with it. And so no epidural, the essential oils, the crystals, the doula. At Greenwich Hospital, which is like 90% epidural. The other 10%, the other 9% is like the woman just, it's too fast for the epidural, and that's it. So, I'm laboring, and Rudy, my husband, was like, so when, he's asking the nurse, like, when is this going to happen? And she said, you hear those ohms? They're going to turn into, sure enough. It just kept getting stronger and stronger. I was like, oh my God, like, how much can I take? This is unbelievable. And the the water still hadn't broken. And the doctor came in and she said, okay, you know, if it doesn't break, we're going to have to break it for you. And I was so surprised in that moment because I still had such a connection to what I wanted. And I looked at my doula, and she looked at me. She was about to say something, but she saw in my face like, oh, she's got this. So I turned to my doctor and I said, I'll give it another half an hour. And if it doesn't break then we'll revisit the situation. And so she left. And, you know, then I said to my doula, why don't you try the sage? I had a clary sage essential oil. So I said, why don't you try that? And I'm so glad because she knew the right acupressure points. And so she started rubbing that essential oil on like somewhere around my ankles. And the water just burst. It was like a water balloon. It was like, I was like, wow. Wow, hey, okay, here we go. And you know, then the nurse went out to get the doctor, and she came back and she said, okay, please don't go far, because last time I was on call, you know, last time I was in here, I had to catch a baby. And the doctor turns to her and she goes, I'm just going to go down Greenwich Avenue, just walk down Greenwich Avenue. Is that okay with you? And I'm sitting there like, what's wrong with you, lady? Like, I don't have time for you. And that surprised me because I was always very, very conscious of how others around me were feeling. Were they comfortable? Was I making them uncomfortable? You know, was I pushing anybody into anything? And I didn't want to, you know, rock the boat. Had that happened when I was not in labor, I may have smiled. I probably would have smiled and chuckled along with her. I'm just glad that I did not give her a piece of my mind at that moment, which was basically, I don't think I need you. But anyway, you know, it was amazing in that moment. I just let it go. I had my doula, my mom, my husband, and they were amazing. The nurse was incredible. And I said, forget it. So finally, there came the moment, and you know, the moment to push. And I said, okay, here we go. So I'm pushing and pushing and pushing, and the doctor's there, and she's like, could you lie on your back? Look at her, no. So they took out the monkey bars, and there I was squatting like an Amazon woman. And I did it my way. I did it my way. I listened to my body, and I wanted, you know, I said, gravity is going to help me on this. And okay, here we go. And I'm pushing and pushing. And I think by this time, I still didn't fully acknowledge, accept that I was about to become a mother. I think I realized in that moment, like, whoa, I think this has been taking so long because I haven't really been allowing it. You know, you have 9-10 months to prepare for this being to come into your life. But I still don't think I was ready for the change that I was going to go through in becoming a mother. So in that moment, I said, Martina, you can't go back. Clearly, can't go back. Let's go. So I said, come on, baby. And my husband comes up and he's like, huh? What? What do you need? And I'm like, not you. The baby. And that was it. Finally, you know, he crowned and his head popped out. And so I pushed for an hour and he came out and my mom burst into tears. She started bawling. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I don't have the energy. Like, I can't. And at this point, we didn't know if it was a boy or girl. I had a feeling he was a boy, but it was, you know, we kept it a surprise the whole time. And I looked at him. My husband was supposed to announce, you know, it's a boy or it's a girl. And I had two names going on in my mind, either Alessandro or Gabriel. And I look at him, I go, Alessandro! This was before my husband had a chance to say it's a boy. And I was like, oh, oh well. And so yeah, there he was, this little thing, you know. So they, you know, waited a bit for the blood to flow from the placenta through the cord into him, or whatever it is it's supposed to happen. And Rudy cut the cord and they took him and cleaned him up, and during all that I had the afterbirth with the placenta. Oh man, that felt so good. That felt amazing. Like, to get that, I was like, oh, you know, 9-10 months with this big belly and feel so full all the time. And once that came out, I was like, oh yeah. And it's almost like I gave birth to the baby, and then I gave birth to myself in my new role. I'm kind of sorry that I didn't look more into like placenta pills or something like that. You know, some people take the placenta and they dehydrate it and get all the nutrients from it. And supposedly it helps with postpartum, you know, replenishing the vitamins and minerals for the mother. If I have another one, I'll probably look into that. There's just something sacred about the placenta. It gives, you know, it's giving your baby everything it needs while he's growing inside of you. They brought him back to me, and he was just so sweet. He looked just like the sonogram pictures. We had the 3D sonograms, and he looked just like it. I couldn't believe it. His face wasn't all scrunched up and red and angry or anything. He was just so gorgeous. I'm like, whoa. Probably because he's my son, you know. Everyone thinks their baby's the most gorgeous thing. So there I was holding him. I'm like, oh my God. Like, where did you come from? I mean, I was there. And, you know, we nursed right away. And he was a natural. He still is. He's still nursing. But it's interesting. There was this adrenaline, of course, going through my body. And I had just done this like marathon. But there we were, and my doula was like, let me get a picture of you. And I said, no, I feel horrible. I feel like I look terrible, I feel so vulnerable and fragile. Like I don't want to remember this feeling. So please don't take a picture. And in her doula wisdom, she said, well, let me take a picture, let me just get it. And then, if later you decide you don't want it, of course you can just delete it. So we got the picture. And of course, now I'm like, oh, so glad I have that picture, It was just really interesting. It was just this like, how do I explain? It's like this juxtaposition of feelings and thoughts. It's like on one hand, I was feeling so vulnerable and fragile and just like, oh God. And on the other hand, I remember saying, oh wow, I can do anything now. Like I just did that, I can do anything. And feeling so strong. So to have both of that going on at the same time was very interesting. It's like, I guess it's just the epitome of the human experience. You have this physical body that's fragile and vulnerable, but at the same time, miraculous in its ability to heal and to create and move things. And I think that was one of the hardest things for me, was to face my humanity. I like to spend a lot of time, out up in the in the plains of light and meditation and bringing it down to earth sometimes, was a challenge. There was a disconnect. And birthing is the ultimate meshing of those two realities. I mean, there's nothing more powerful, visceral, physical, human than giving birth to a baby. And at the same time, of course, you're giving birth to a baby, this being who has come, from a spiritual plane into a physical form, and he's in your body, and you birth him. It's a miracle. Just the fact that a baby can grow inside of you. It's like I didn't do anything. I took care of myself, But gosh, if it were up to me to put the cells in, okay, let's make his face like this, or make sure everything's working. Oh boy, that would be that would be a mess. So, for me, that was like, of course, there's God, of course. So the birthing process was a great rite of passage, initiation for me to really step into my divinity. And once he was born, came the hard work. I thought the birth was hard, but now came the hard work, because I felt like I had just run this marathon and then I couldn't sleep. I couldn't recover, I couldn't replenish. In the hospital, as comfortable as it was and as wonderful as, the nurses are there, and as loving as my family is to want to come and visit, I just I didn't have the space and time to really rest. They came in with the baby every 4 hours at night. Oh, that was another thing. I thought I would be, the mom with the baby in the room. Like, no, my baby is not going to be with a bunch of strangers. Like, he needs that connection with his mother. That was a different story when I was like, oh my God, what's my name? So many things were different from how I expected them to be. My pregnancy, I thought I would be the cover of Fit Pregnancy magazine. I didn't want to move. I had been active all my life and I loved exercise. And oh man, once he was born, once I was pregnant, halfway through, I was like, that's it. My SI joints started acting up. I was exhausted. And of course, I was doing my student teaching at the time. Like, who does that to themselves? But that's the way it happened. So for 4 days after he was born, I couldn't even sleep if I wanted to. I had this adrenaline rush. I mean, I was like this all the time. I was nervous and just so exhausted, like back in the day when I used to hang out all night and I get back the next morning and I'm all like excited from hanging out and I couldn't sleep. As tired as my body was, I just couldn't sleep. Well, that's kind of what it felt like. My body hurt. I was all ripped up. The doctor had to sew me up, and I just remember sitting there like, are you kidding me? I just went through all of that and I have to sit through this now? And I could feel everything. I could feel the sewing, and my doula was right there with me. And I'm looking at her like, is this lady for real? And she's like, no, you want her to do a good job, right? She's just like trying to, assuage this I look back at her, this poor woman who's just so miserable in her life. Oh gosh. Send her love, right? But so she's like, no, you want her to do a good job, and I'm like, oh yeah, yes, thank you. And then, right, the things they don't tell you, or the things they tell you, but you just don't get it till you're there, and I had to go to the bathroom afterwards, and it burned. I was like, I can't believe I went through all of that, and like still, like, I'm not done. Like, when does this end? Like I said, I was not very good with physical pain. So there I was, after he'd born, I'm still popping Advil every 4 hours like candy. And I'm glad that I was compassionate with myself. I didn't judge myself for taking the Advil because I needed it. You know, there's this thing like, oh, I want to do it all naturally and I should be able to meditate through it or let it go. Or, you know what? It's like, Martina, you're in pain. Just take it. Take the Advil. So I allowed myself that, and that helped a lot. And so there we are, we're at home and we have this brand new baby and it's supposed to be all wonderful. But I didn't feel that. I felt really scared, like, oh my God, I'm like, can I handle this? I felt disappointed that I was feeling that way. I was like a nervous wreck, right, from the adrenaline or whatever it was. Just as an example of how not ready I really was for having this baby come into my life. I didn't even have a changing table set up for him. I didn't think it mattered. I was like, I'll just change him on the bed. Like, no big deal. And of course, you know, in that state, my body was achy and my SI joint was just, you know, last thing I wanted to do was like bend down and change a baby on the bed. But I didn't realize that before. And nobody told me. I'm like, why didn't anybody in my family like say, Martina, you need to set these things up now, before he was born. But I guess I just give off this vibe that I've got everything handled and no big deal. And you know, looking back now, it's not a big deal. You know, I was like, Rudy, go to my sister's house, get the changing table, come back, set it up, boom, boom, boom. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But at the time, I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway. Long story short, I didn't feel the integration of the different parts of me until I had a healing from my friend Jasenia, who's also a paramita. She lives in California, and through my pregnancy, we would do Skype sessions and you know, distance healing, and that helped me so much, because anybody who's pregnant and anybody who knows what student teaching is like, you know, how crazy it is. And those healing sessions saved me. So finally, we were able to connect, and she gave me a healing session, and fine, I like felt that like the revolution just come down, and the energy could just flow smoothly. It was like that static, that dissonance, that gritty, dirty feeling was just softened, and I could relax a little bit, a little. I could sleep a little better, and I knew I had to keep these sessions going. I needed these healing sessions. I needed to step up my meditations and, really get into it. But I was still distracted. I had a brand new baby. What? Just a baby? Oh, come on. Not that the baby was a distraction. But I still felt a lot of anxiety. And looking back now, I'm like, oh, that must have been some postpartum going on, postpartum depression, anxiety, whatever. It was more than the baby blues, because it lasted a while, like more than 3 months. And of course, there's the guilt. You're like, oh my God, like I should be enjoying this. This is so special. And it was. And, I was able to at least recognize how amazing it was to have this beautiful baby in my arms. But at the same time, I was like, I'm exhausted. I can't sleep. I can't sleep when the baby sleeps. So I put on my meditations, which did wonders. There were times afterwards when I actually did sleep, and I didn't wake up as refreshed as when I had done the meditations. So I had these tools. I was trained as an energy therapist with rapid eye technology since 2007. I was, attuned to Paramita light also in 2007, which I had started with Reiki, and then I felt some ladies radiating something that they wanted to buy, to cleanse it and transmute the dense energy into light. And I was like, wow, what is that? I want that. So that's how I started into the Paramita. I had studied psychology. I did a master's in psychology. So I had all of these tools, and I just wasn't applying them. I was too tired, or I just wasn't connected. I don't know what it was. And finally, after like a year, and a half, maybe a little before, maybe like 13, 14 months, I said, Martina, you need to get serious, because the only thing that's going to save you is yourself. And I delved deeper into my spiritual practice, made more time for meditation, made more time for being present and feeling the presence of the Creator in me throughout the entire day. My spiritual practice became more than just Sunday. People go to church on Sunday and then the rest of the week it's like, oh, okay. No, I made a conscious effort to feel that presence, that light in me every moment that I could. And when, I'd get distracted, I'd say, oh, okay. I would notice and come back. Not saying I was perfect at it, or that I am. It's a practice. It was all in my willingness to surrender. I was trying to control things. And it wasn't until I could surrender that things started to unfold in the way that my heart knew the reality could be. And once I started to surrender my free will and affirm that I want what the Creator wants, whoa, everything changed. Everything changed. I was able to see, even though I knew I have the power to change my reality, I began to see it and to experience it. Another thing that really helped me was visiting a naturopath. I was working with a naturopath before he was born. About a couple years before I was pregnant, I broke out in this rash and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I went to see naturopath at Stanford Center for Natural Healing, Dr. Futterman, and I immediately clicked with her. So I started eliminating a bunch of things from my diet. Wheat, gluten, soy, corn, and dairy. Now I realize that this food sensitivity, this whole experience was just a wonderful opportunity for me to let go of attachments. The attachment to food, the attachment to, it has to be like this. It has to be like that. Just let go. So the soul isn't free until you let go of these attachments. Attachments to people, to places, to things, to your food, to your own ideas and beliefs. The turning point was when I realized that I was on this downward spiral and I was essentially giving away my power. I was blaming the situation. I was saying, oh, I can't go exercise because I can't put the baby down, or I can't do X, Y, and Z because of whatever. So the birth experience was my initiation into reclaiming the powerful co-creator that I am. It was really empowering because it was such a challenging event. And not just the birth, the whole mothering, new mother thing. That it just forced me into going inside. And one of the gifts of of this experience of motherhood is that I could begin to let go of my need for approval from others. But there was a lot of questioning, a lot of self-doubt. So I really had to consciously tune into my heart, tune into my connection with the Creator. Ask my angels, put them to work. So that was very empowering. So the turning point was when I was going through this downward spiral, and I said, Martina, only you can do this. And through this trial by fire, right? I was able to finally let go of the attachments, drop the veils of illusion, and come into my own, be who I really am inside. I didn't realize, but I was kind of playing a character. Then the turning point was when I put my foot down and I said to my husband, I need to go to the gym. Budget's tight. I said, I don't care. I need this. And that took a lot for me to be strong in what I wanted. It sounds so silly. So like, well, yeah, you want to go to the gym, big deal. No, this was a big deal for me. And so we went. I signed up for the gym. Another challenge presented itself that Alessandro did not want to be in the daycare. So I told my husband, okay, Saturdays, you need to come home from soccer early and stay with Alessandro while I go to the gym at least once a week. I need this. Can you support me in this? And he said, okay. He was not happy about it. He loves his soccer, and I totally understand. He needs that outlet. It's his passion. I totally get it. And I'm really grateful to him that he was able to sacrifice that for me. So that was a turning point. And little by little, I started going to the gym. My body started getting stronger. I was working with a naturopath, taking my vitamins, avoiding the gluten. As I felt my body getting stronger, I felt more powerful.
What does it mean for you today to be vulnerable or fragile? How do you relate those two feelings?
It means that there's a part of me that needs to come out. It means that I still have a part of my soul that I'm not truly expressing. And by feeling vulnerable and fragile, it's because this mask, these layers of ego are vulnerable and fragile because they're not real. The self-doubt, the garbage that we tell ourselves, the limiting beliefs, all of that, it seems so strong and has such a hold over us, but it's not real. So when I feel fragile and vulnerable, it's because that is breaking down. So this idea that I have of myself is breaking down. And while I used to run away from that, now I'm making more of a conscious effort to really explore and say, okay, well, okay, Creator, let it go, I let it go, I put it in your hands. What do you want to show me?
Looking back to the person you were, you know, before to become a mother, and looking at yourself today that you are a mother and along the path of your motherhood, along the transformation you've been through, if you ground yourself today where you are now, what do you see? Which is the gift, you know, that you can feel inside yourself?
The gift is my true essence, the divine spark, who I am, the reason I'm here on this earth, my purpose, the gift of letting go of the character, being who I am every day, saying what I feel, you know. If something doesn't sit right with me, I don't do it. I don't do it. And I'm not afraid anymore to tell somebody, no. I'm not afraid what they think of me as a mother. They don't know. Baby starts crying, you're like, oh, the poor baby, like you have no idea. Even if you're a mom, like you think you know, but you don't. So that ability to just be strong in who I really am and not be afraid of who I really am and why I'm here, which is to ground this light, this divine essence, radiate it, and be a way shower for others. I know there are other mothers out there who are on their knees praying for somebody to show them a way out of whatever it is they find themselves in. They know there's another way. They know there's something more to all of this. And I'm here for that. I'm here to show the way. And I feel that I can do that because I've been through it. I had, you know, perfect pregnancy, perfect birth, and I still had all of these emotions, all of these things going on within me. So I came out of it with these particular tools, and if anybody comes to me and says, you know, if their soul's like, I need help, like, I'm here. I'm here. And I think that's the gift, my recognition of that purpose.
So thank you very much, Martina, for telling us your story. It has been a journey, a real journey, through your pregnancy and childbirth and your motherhood. I think that what is important to underline is that you prepared for your birth. You asked the help of a doula. You had your family around you, your partner. So you built a kind of birthing team around you with people who you loved, people who you chose, and there you've been able to be supported by them during your childbirth. So I think that this is very important to share with other mothers too, the right to ask for support and also to accept our feelings, accept that we can be vulnerable, accept that we can have ups and downs, accept that we can, you know, go through the unknown, and sometimes there are no answers, but we need to have faith and maybe step into a path that can help us, and then the gifts will and the tools will appear for us. So I think that support and also the other returning thing in your story for me is your will, the strength of your own power. That is also the strength of all the story, of all the journey, because at the end you went back to that power to rebuild, to change your reality. For other mothers, this is the most important thing to share, and the things that they need to know they are available for them out there. The support of a doula, or the support of a spiritual path, or the support of a family. And the other thing is that is your strength to declare your needs and ask for support. This is very important too, because maybe sometimes mothers, they feel weak, they feel they need support, but they do not ask for it. So this is another important point. This is it. We are going to end our call, and just want to say thank you once more, because you opened this space of your life to us with your experience. Thank you, Martina.
Thank you. Thank you. This was, it was a great experience to be able to go back to the events and the feelings and put it into a new perspective. Now, whereas once I was feeling weak, now I feel strong, and the summary that you gave was really great. That's it. The support structures and asking for support. I just want to clarify that it's not my will. It's if it were for me alone, I couldn't do any of this. You know, it's being able to connect to the divinity within, and that's where the strength comes from.